Welcome to the PCOS Fertility Health Podcast. Today is a very cool episode because you are going to learn 3 common misconceptions about PCOS fertility, why they are often told as truths in the fertility world, and then most importantly, why they are actually keeping you from getting pregnant. I just think it is so cool that you have chosen to show up here today to listen to a podcast that will help you increase your chances of getting pregnant with PCOS. Seriously. Because your life is made up of a series of tiny little decisions that you are making every single day. And you have made a decision to show up here to listen to this podcast episode. When there are millions of episodes out there that you could be listening to, there are millions of other things that you could be paying attention to right now. But you have chosen to learn more about your fertility health, how you can be optimizing your body and your hormones and everything that your body needs to create this fertile environment. You are making that decision at this very moment. And I think that is amazing. And I don't take that lightly. I really am honored for you to be here with me. And you showing up here shows that you are committed to growth and to changing your health, to optimizing your body. Yes, fertility is a long, frustrating journey that leaves you crying yourself to sleep. But you are holding on to that hope. There is a light inside of you that is saying, yes, I know that there is something out there, some way to support my body to come to this fertile place. And I am choosing to hold on to that. And I really admire that in you. And that shows a lot about who you are as a person. So before we jump into these misconceptions about PCOS and why they're keeping you from getting pregnant, I want to invite you to something really special. This event is specifically for you if you want to increase your chance of getting pregnant with PCOS. And you've had a situation where your doctor has told you that there's no hope. Your labs look fine and they're sorry, but there's no hope. And you're feeling like you've tried everything. You've done all these rounds of medications. You've been to these different doctors. You feel like you've tried everything. What else could there be? If that is you, then I want you to sign up for this masterclass that I am running, because you are going to learn these problems in the fertility world, why they are keeping you stuck and not having the baby of your dreams, and more importantly, what to do about it. Solutions to these fertility problems that can open up fertility for you. So you can head over to drangelapotter.com/PCOS-class. I'm going to include that link in the show notes here so you can just head on over super quick. And I have 2 dates on that are coming up. And so I want you to choose one that you have available. Okay, make sure that that date and that time is open for you, because this is a live class and there is no recording sent out, because I am going to show up for you to share this really in-depth, powerful information about what's happening in your body and how to move forward. And so I want you to show up too. I want you to say, yes, I am committing to this time. I am committing to supporting my health, to increase my fertility, to understand how I can move forward in order to have the best chance at getting pregnant. So you can head on over drangelapotter.com/PCOS-class. Again, link just below, and sign up for one of those dates that works for you. As a doctor who has now been in practice for 10 years, yes, I am celebrating my 10 years of being a doctor this year. Well, over these 10 years, I have really been able to see some patterns and themes and really identify key issues that are keeping people from having the health that they're looking for, specifically about PCOS and fertility. Because there is so much information out there, and I have talked to countless number of women over the years about their fertility struggles, about what they are hearing from their other doctors. It's keeping them stuck. This is really common information that's out there. And so that's why I wanted to spend this time with you today to really outline these 3 misconceptions and help you understand why they are actually keeping you from getting pregnant. Because you're here. You have PCOS, you haven't been able to get pregnant, you are feeling lost and broken and like you're failing as a woman. You're here because you have been trying to get pregnant for the past few years. You got off of birth control. Your periods were all over the place. So of course you went to go see your doctor. She ran a couple of labs for you and told you, oh, everything's fine. So she referred you forward to a fertility specialist who put you on a few rounds of letrozole. So you've tried that. Those didn't work. Here you are. You haven't had a period since last September. You know that there is something going on in your body that is keeping you from getting pregnant. And you want to figure that out because you want to get pregnant naturally. You want to optimize your health so that your hormones are working, so that you can get regular periods, ovulate, and make a baby. And you are committed to your health to figure that out. And so that's why we are talking about these 3 common misconceptions today. So the first misconception is you can't get pregnant with PCOS. Yes, there are doctors out there who are telling this to women. And if you have heard this from a doctor or from somebody, my heart goes out to you. And unfortunately, there is such misinformation in the medical world about PCOS. But if you have heard that kind of misinformation before, we're going to turn that around for you today. Here's why so many people will say, oh, you can't get pregnant with PCOS, or it's going to be really hard to get pregnant with PCOS. It's because they are on a one-track mindset. In the medical world, we are trained as doctors that systems in the body work independently from one another. So when we are working on fertility, we just have to focus on the ovaries, the uterus, and the reproductive hormones because making a baby is a goal. And so that needs to be the number one focus of a fertility plan. Now, yes, of course, that if you want to get pregnant, we have got to make sure that all of those systems, all those baby-making organs are doing what they're supposed to in order to do what they're supposed to make a baby. But PCOS is different. PCOS can't be fit into a one-size-fits-all treatment plan. PCOS can't fit into a box. And here's why. Because PCOS is a syndrome, okay? It's called polycystic ovarian syndrome, which basically means multiple cysts on the ovary syndrome. We're going to concentrate on the word syndrome today for the purposes of what we're talking about here. A syndrome means it's a collection of different symptoms that create this greater syndrome. And so PCOS is made up of 3 different symptoms. And so those 3 are ovulation issues, cysts on the ovaries, and elevated androgen hormones. You need 2 out of 3 of those in order to be diagnosed with PCOS. But the reason that this is so important is that your PCOS is different from your friend's PCOS. It's different from all the other women in the Facebook group that you're on. Your PCOS is unique to you. And so the symptoms that are creating your PCOS are unique, let alone what else is going on in the body, which we'll talk about in a minute. But you are a unique individual with your PCOS. Because the 2 things that are popping up for your PCOS are different from your friends. And so it should not be expected that one treatment plan, a one-size-fits-all approach, should work for everyone with PCOS. Do you see how that works? And yet, us as doctors, when we're trained, so are trained in that rhythm of using the one size fits all approach. Now, I don't use that, okay? Because you're here and you know that you are getting extra answers. And we are talking about a misconception. And so those doctors that are set in that mindset of only using the one fertility medication or therapy that is ahead, then that is completely missing the point for PCOS. And so can you see that if you are going in to get fertility treatments and you have different issues showing up for your PCOS than your friend, and she is going to the same treatment place for her fertility treatments, do you see how both of you are not going to have the same level of your fertility treatments working? Because you have different issues that are creating your PCOS symptoms, that are creating your fertility struggles. All right, so let's jump into misconception number 2. And that is the ovulation induction medications are first-line treatments. So let's, break this down a little bit. Ovulation induction medications, those are going to be letrozole, also known as Femara, or Clomid. Okay, those are those medications that are prescribed for a timed intercourse cycle. They're used for IUIs, and they are basically used to help push the egg out of the ovary, which makes a lot of sense, right? You're like, oh, well, I'm trying to get pregnant, so I just need to push the egg out, right? Because I haven't been ovulating, my periods have been all over the place. And so that should fix the issue, right? As long as the egg can come out of the ovary, we're all good. But those medications are not the golden ticket for getting pregnant with PCOS. If they were, everyone with PCOS who wanted to get pregnant would be pregnant by now. But that is not happening. And these ovulation induction medications like letrozole are what's fitting you into that one size fits all approach. And so coming from that mindset of it's only about the ovaries, it's only about reproduction, that is the only direction that your fertility treatment plan can go in, that is keeping you in that one size fits all approach. Now, I will also add in a huge important disclaimer right here. Those medications are not bad. They are helpful in many situations. The key takeaway about these medications is that they are being used at the wrong time in the fertility journey. And here's why. Because those medications do one job. They are there to push the egg out of the ovary. But like we talked about a few minutes ago, PCOS is made up of different symptoms that are coming together to create the PCOS syndrome. And those ovulation induction medications, like letrozole, they are not supporting this holistic regulation of the body to create this fertile environment. They are not regulating insulin levels. They are not lowering androgen levels. They are not optimizing your fertility nutrients, your vitamin D status, your iron levels. They are not increasing antioxidants in the body to support your egg quality. They aren't doing those things. And so if you've been in a position where you haven't had a plan to optimize these different areas of your body and you've been having irregular cycles, then yeah, we know egg quality is already poor, right? Because there's got to be a reason that your eggs aren't coming out of the ovaries. So yes, hormones are involved, but if your egg doesn't have the building blocks to be able to mature and get to a place where it's ready to ovulate, there's an issue there. And that is what we need to figure out. Okay, why is your body not ovulating? But we know that those medications are not answering that question. They're not taking those steps back to actually help improve egg quality so that that egg is ready to ovulate. If you're in that situation where your cycles are all irregular and you don't have the proper levels of estrogen and progesterone because you're not having regular cycles, once you do get pregnant, well, what foundations do you have to keep that pregnancy going? Those ovulation induction medications don't do anything for once you are pregnant to make sure that you can sustain that pregnancy. And so do you see how there are so many missing links when you're using those types of medications as the first line? Because remember, those medications might be very helpful, but there is this foundation that needs to be laid in the body. And then maybe one day you might need that just to kind of push your body over into that ovulation mode. But by then, your body is just in this fertile state and everything is just clicking as it's supposed to. Do you see how those two different situations, one is just starting those ovulation medications first line when your doctor has run a few labs, said everything is fine. Okay, we'll just try some letrozole. Try those for a few cycles. Timed intercourse cycles, those don't work. All right, well, we'll do an IUI or two. And then at that point, they aren't working. And so your doctor says, well, the only thing that you can do is move forward to IVF. Do you see how different that is from when you first say, okay, what are my hormone levels doing? And how can I optimize those? What nutrients do I need to have on board that I know are keeping my hormone levels not regulated and my egg quality low? What do I need to have on board? And you work on that for your health to create this fertile environment, and you try to get pregnant naturally. And maybe you do. I've certainly seen that plenty of times in my practice. But maybe you do need a round of letrozole after a few months. And do you see how that situation will be entirely different and how much that increases your chances of those letrozole cycles working? You just got to know how to put these PCOS pieces together. So let's talk about misconception number 3. And that is that birth control regulates periods. So irregular cycles, irregular periods are probably the most common symptom with PCOS that leads someone like yourself who's trying to get pregnant to go to the doctor. Because, we're pretty in tune with the fact that we should probably get our cycles regular in order to get pregnant. And so you go to your doctor and they say, oh, okay, well, just get back on birth control and eat better. Birth control is the number one recommended medication to help regulate cycles right now. And there are some really big missing links with that process. So number one is that birth control is a source of hormones. It has estrogen and progesterone in it. Those two hormones are synthetic. They are man-made hormones that you're taking in your body. Those hormones, when you're taking, we're talking about the pill specifically. When you're taking the pill, that is shutting down your body's internal hormonal cascade. Okay, when you take the pill, it says, hey, brain, we're good. We've got this taken care of. You don't need to be making these hormones. And it talks to the ovaries and says, yep, we've got this taken care of. You don't need to be pushing that egg out, creating those hormones. Nope, we've got this all taken care of. And so birth control pills are what we refer to as a Band-Aid approach. Okay. Everything looks really nice from the outside. It's like this wrapped up and tied in a nice little package where you're getting a bleed every month. It's really light, not a lot of cramps, not a lot of PMS. And isn't that lovely because you haven't had a period since last September and hooray, regular periods are back. It's easy to fall into that mindset, but that's not what's happening under the surface. Under the surface, the pill is saying to your natural hormone cascade, no, we've got this taken care of. Don't worry about it. Because birth control is meant to keep someone from getting pregnant, right? That's what it was created for. That's what we know that it works for. How can birth control work two directly opposite jobs at the exact same time? It cannot create this state of keeping the body from getting pregnant and at the same time regulating cycles so that they're normal. Because when you have regular cycles, those hormones are moving at each time during the month when they're supposed to, and they're at optimal levels. That creates an environment for a baby that helps increase cervical mucus. It helps your body's immune system to prepare for a coming baby. That is how reproduction works. But if there is a pill that you're taking that is shutting down that internal cascade, it's keeping your cervical mucus from getting primed, it's not supporting the immune system to get ready to accept a baby, a fertilized egg, right? From the surface, it looks like hormones are regulating, but internally it is shutting everything down to keep you from getting pregnant. And we know with the pill that it raises androgen levels. It raises hormones like testosterone. That's why it's really common for women to come off the pill and all of a sudden they get acne, weight gain. We know that the pill increases insulin levels. Women who have diabetes have to get special counseling when getting on the pill because we know that it causes irregular insulin levels, and which if you have elevated insulin, that is shutting down ovulation. And so using birth control as a way to regulate periods is not getting to the core of the issue. From the outside, again, it looks really nice. You're having a regular period. It's once a month. It's not very hard to handle, but internally, your hormones are not getting regulated. They are not getting reminded of this natural rhythm that they want to be in that creates this fertile environment. So do you see how using birth control, it is not creating this hormonal system inside in order to get you to a place where you're ready to have a baby. So being told to just get back on birth control and eat better, that's dismissive fertility advice. That's basically saying, we don't know how to help you. And we don't know how to get your hormones back into the regular rhythm that they want to be in. We don't know how to create that fertile abundance in your body. And so when you get that advice, that needs to be a red flag to say, maybe I should go look other places to talk to other doctors who can help me get my hormones working as they're supposed to be, to really get to the core issue of why my body is not in that fertile place and how to get there, because that's possible. That's what I am doing in my practice day in and day out. And I see it all the time. I see fertility open up naturally. And it's really dang cool. Particularly when somebody is coming into my office talking about this long list of misconceptions that we've talked about. These one-size-fits-all treatment plans, feeling like they're just pushed into a box, and these other issues of their body are not looked at. And then we're able to, in a step-by-step way, really look at their body, what their body needs, create a plan that addresses what's showing up for them, and then how fertility just opens up. And that's a possibility for you too. You can have a story like that. But the information that you hear on a podcast episode, as much as I am so excited to be here giving you this information, it is not enough to then take forward for your own fertility plan. It's one step. It's one very important step for you to understand, okay, what are these missing links in my fertility plan? But in order to get really the core of what is keeping you from getting pregnant, to get that fertility plan that's going to open up things for you, you've got to take the next step. And that is working with a doctor who can help you, who understands how to put those PCOS pieces together. And you are here on this podcast episode, and you are committed to making changes. And so I invite you to jump on a call with me, because I would be overjoyed to meet with you, to really dive into your unique story, to understand what is your body telling you that's keeping you from getting pregnant, and help you to see that path forward, what your body needs to unlock in order to get the best chance at getting pregnant with PCOS. So you can jump on a call with me at drangelapotter.com/PCOS. Let's do it. Okay. Find a time that works in your schedule and let's talk. And as we wrap up here today, I want to tell you, in case nobody else has told you today, that I believe in you. And I believe in your ability to get the very best chance at getting pregnant with PCOS. Have a beautiful week. I will see you right back here next Wednesday.